So I brought the Honda from around back where it's been stored for the summertime, and wanted to do some welding on the snowblower. Of course, we got hit with a snowstorm before I got a chance to do that. It was already in the garage too, and I didn't think we were going to have any kind of issues until I came across a frozen newspaper in the driveway, and it got stuck between the blade and the scraper bar, and pushed this whole assembly down to where the rest of the driveway was just hammering it with chatter. But again, as you can see where the rust holes and stuff are, I was planning on doing a bunch of work to it anyway, and this has been this way for a long time and procrastinated. So look at that hamburger under there. Well, that's supposed to be all boxed in section and nice and strong and all, and now of course it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's kind of a better look. You can see the bend on it, and that was even much more. I probably pushed it back up with a floor jack a good 2 or 3 inches. So having said that, I figure we'll go make a little welding video, shall we? So at first I was going to work with it on there. Now I was looking at how extensive the work it's going to need to do, so I figure probably our best bet, we drop the tractor back down and we'll disconnect the snowblower and flip it upside down and give us some easier access to trimming some of that stuff off of there. So let me get that off, and let's see what we got. So the good part about the snowblower is it's got kind of a quick disconnect with no belt. But the bad part about this snowblower is it's got a quick disconnect with no belt. You got to try to get the dry shaft in the same time you're getting the center in. Let's see if we can get that off. See what the lovelies look like on that. Mangled up. Oh boy, that's attractive. Yeah, I think it was a bit overdue to get its work done, do you say? But if it's made of metal, we could fix it. I think this is supposed to be flipped over the other direction, like that. It's even up in there some too. I might drive the tractor out and put this on the lift and get it up in the air so it's a little bit easier to work on. What do you think? Looking pretty toasty. I sprayed this down with toilet ring wax, but I didn't get to the underneath because it was on the machine when I did it. I don't know, let's see how if that's still got. You can still see that coating is still on there. Hasn't been an issue. None of that stuff has gotten any rustier, but the underneath wasn't done. The lighting sucks. So I'd say I think we should take care of that this time around. So yeah, let me move some stuff around. I don't know if I could back the tractor up enough to get to the lift and leave it in here, continue to dry, but I could figure that out without you guys. Well, that's a little better, kind of up in the air. So I'm not seeing very much worth saving on the bottom of that whatsoever, except for I kind of want to keep maybe the pattern of it. So I might do it in sections just to try to maintain some kind of continuity as far as what I have. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to work from this side and work my way around on the repair. We'll get the wheels out of our way. All this looks pretty stout. I did this because there used to be skis down here, and they were, ripped out of their mounts to begin with. So that's been working out fine. It's pretty stout, and they're adjustable. I can adjust, what the wheels are. My driveway's pretty rough, so I kind of like leaving about that much behind, so I'm not scooping up all the rocks. And we'll leave that again the same. So I'm thinking probably for this section, I'm going to see what the biggest piece of angle iron I have. If I have a piece of like 2x2, maybe we'll make that be the new bridge going all the way across. See, it's punky right there. There's nothing left of that. These look like they're pretty stout. The drum looks like it's okay. See your rough holes going into the drum. Yeah, it's gone right there too. So we'll probably trim right back to that weld and see what we got. So I'm gonna go look and see what I have for a stash of nice beefy piece of angle iron, and that will, definitely strengthen that whole thing up. And then maybe we'll rebuild with sheet metal, like 1/8 inch, repair the rest of it as needed. So let me go shopping. So I'm gonna scrounge around my metal hoard. This is some of the metal that was removed from the trailer, the big enclosed trailer, the welding trailer, that was on that back door that they scabbed together. And this is probably the thickest piece. I want to say that's probably 3/16, and it's got kind of a weird width to it. It looks like it's 2 by, I'm going to say that's 3. So I figure we'll get that saw cutting on that, and I'll set up while that's cutting to carve out some of the metal on that other piece. So it should be this guy. Get some fluid going. And then this knob is your feed rate. Just kind of crack it open until it starts. And the coolant that I run in there is the orange windshield washer fluid, because it won't freeze in the wintertime out in my garage. So that's 2 by 3. So that's the 3-inch will bring me right to where that seam is, and figure it'll drop down 2 inches across the front. So I should be safe in removing all this material, get it out from underneath here. The same with this. It looks like I should be able to sneak it right up inside underneath there and continue our way right across. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do plasma cutter and or cutting wheel, or maybe a combination of both. I'll probably start with the plasma cutter and buzz a bunch of this out of here. Let's see how well that plasma cutter works. It's got a new tip on it this time, not like last time. It has to be cutting through rusty, wet, crappy metal, so it'll fight me a little bit, but it should be okay. I'm just looking to trim the fat right now. I'm not looking to get rid of all of it in one shot, but the areas you can't get into with a cutting wheel, You guys are like, I can't see anything. Back. And let's go trim around this guy. Just set up on the other side. And let's trim a little bit more fat. Good thing for the cutting edge, rubbing on the ground, I wouldn't have a place to get good ground. There's it's not welded all the way across down here. It's got like welds that are about an inch wide, and that's what I cut off on the other side. Probably get rid of that in the back too. That corner. Where's my piece of metal? Right, yeah, there you go. It's gotta go there. So I'm gonna go get the flap of this. I want to clean up the two edges on both sides and get that material far back as possible. Now I should be able to slip this in. I might have to knock another 1/4 inch off of this. So we'll slip this in behind it and we'll kind of see how it looks and where we want to continue to clean up. I'd like to not have to get behind here and remove all this. This piece underneath here. But we'll see. So I need to cut and we'll do a little bit of work with that. Come on to it. Could do the same on the other side. So no job is complete without getting beat on with a hammer for a little bit. So I figured we'd shove this piece in. See if we can kind of maybe snug that guy in there a little bit. I wonder if these guys are bent down a little bit. Nah. Under here, that's the issue. I think what I'm going to do is take a flapper disc. I'm going to clean up some of these edges right here, get rid of all this slag that's kind of hanging down a little bit. And it's got to get prepped for welding anyway, but I have a feeling I'm just going to fit that piece so it's close, and then we're going to continue on and cut this section out of it and build this before we weld this in place. It just gives us easier access to it. As far as the scraper edge, it doesn't look like these bolts are going to be very savable, so I'm probably just going to blow these off the plasma cutter. Also, we'll get the cutting edge right off of it, and see what I have for hardware. We'll probably start with new. I got to straighten that out too. Wish I added more. We'll see. So I'm going to start with cleaning this up, and then I'll probably take and leave about probably a ½ inch or so after the bend, and that whatever metal I put up, that'll give me something to weld to for that section going across. And when that's out of there, I probably can get up inside here too. That's my plan for now. To change at any time. I give no warranty. Let's go cut its nuts off. Didn't sound right, did it? Dad floppy. So the good old might as wells took over, and I decided to watch. Let me back up. I tried beating those suckers, heating them up. You can't really get in there at a good swing. I got them better, but I didn't get them great. Show you some. Yeah, you can see the issues with it. So, you know, other than maybe pulling the thing out of there and doing it, what I decided to do, because I have a figure it's just going to go bend again, so I decided to make 3 repair patch panels we're going to put in there. And I think because it'd be reinforced from behind, it'll be a lot harder to bend. My only issue that I'm kind of worried about is if the snow's kind of coming in, this is the direction it's traveling, and then it gets flung out the chute, is that lip going to cause us any issues as far as drag is concerned? I think the benefit of having the edge strong and close to the end of the drum compared to the resistance I'm going to get on that lip is going to outweigh it. Sometimes you just don't know until you try. So this is going to be one of those, you know, did I help it or did I hurt it kind of deal, and then we'll just see from there. But I'm kind of betting on the other. We'll see what happens. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking soapstone and I'm just kind of carving where that is, just so that I have a general idea where to grind and clean and prep the metal as best I can, so I can get in there and weld it. Basically, if I'm able to grind the line off, and I pretty much know I have it. Gotta hit that a little more on the far back side. But putting 2 hands on the job here. You know, it's 2 hands is always better than 1. Yeah, sometimes. So I took and just tacked one on there, and what I did is I spun it around, and I wanted to make sure that that was going to be a good clearance where it doesn't touch anything. And we're pretty good. I did a patch over here. You see I did a bunch of goobered up welding and hammered back into place. There was a crack there. I'm going to weld the plate from the outside, but I kind of want to put something there too, just to fill that hole up a little bit. But anyway, that's the only area it was kind of touching. I kind of pounded it back, reseated it a little bit, and then hit it with a flapper disc on that that weld. So I think that should be good. Put all three of them in about the same spot. The balance should kind of maintain itself, and I think it will just give us a much stronger edge than, you know, that edge, and gets us that much closer to the outer edge of the drum. It should fling the snow better, as long as that lip doesn't get us. But again, we'll find out. So they're on there. It's tinging a little bit. I think I'm clipping. That'll be the top. It's upside down, just a hair on one of them, but it's not enough to. Not that bang. That's the dry shaft clunking around the backside. Actually, yeah, there goes once. So I have a feeling up down the driveway, gravel driveway, a couple of times we'll fix that. So what I want to do now, here it is, take a flapper disc, and I'm going to just try to feather, not a flapper, just the regular roll lock, and feather that lip a little bit, just to make it a little bit smoother of a transition. Again, like I said, so when the snow is getting flung off, it's not trying to ramp up that thing and then get kicked out as much. So kind of cleaned up all the lips, and here's that first piece we looked at. It looks like it fits in pretty good. I'll be able to get a good weld pretty much everywhere, all the way around, and that'll really stiffen the box of the thing up, because that's much thicker than what was ever there before. But we still have to rebuild this angle part, because the snow would just kind of clump up and build up. Don't forget this is the bottom, it's upside down. So as it draws the snow in, it's all going to just want to pack against here, so it kind of needs some of that space taken up. So that piece of flat needs to go back in yet. You know, we gotta put that sheet metal back. It's kind of hard to remember now that everything's missing, but we need something flat kind of going across there. I have low on metal, that's the problem. I have this guy, it's with a funky bend in it. I don't know if that's going to be enough to do it for us or not, so I gotta kind of eyeball that thing, see if I can get it out of there. And it's not looking like it. Anyway, let me go see what I can come up with. So I cut that section off to the width that was there. I figure I'll plop it up in a position, we'll kind of look at it. And it clears everywhere. You know, it clears the augers. The only issue is, let's see if we get this level. You know, this lip is supposed to have the cutting edge attached to it, and should be at almost the height of this. You know, you kind of want it so, yeah, you don't want these digging in the ground or in the driveway, and your cutting edge nowhere near there. So it kind of needs to be taller in some fashion. Two ways I thought about trying to accomplish that. One is, you know, it just hits right on this tit right here on this lip. I could either, you know, notch this or notch the backside so this piece can kind of fold up higher on both sides. And this actually takes up more of the gap than, you know, just a piece on an angle. If you actually look at it, it's, you know, there's even less space in there. Or the other thing is try to figure out how to get this a little bit more on the flat side. And I could put it in the hydraulic press. I don't want to really kill my dies, because you're going to have to try to hit it, you know, this way, because it's too long. Try to at least get some of the bend out of it, or even just like laying it on the floor of the bench and just kind of beating on it. I just don't want to turn it into a total piece of trash. Do I have a spare just in case? We're going to be shy. I'm going to try maybe screwing around with this one first, and maybe try beating that with a sledge or something on the ground, see how it takes, the bend comes out of it. If I like that, so be it. If not, I'll notch it. There's my plan. Let's just say I got my cardio. I'm down to a t-shirt in the middle of the wintertime. Alright, so I ended up just hammering both sides of that flat and making the plate that I needed, and it it was going to make things too complicated, and so it ain't perfectly flat, but neither is the snow. So I'm going to think, I think I'm going to, matter of fact, I know I'm going to go tack this all the way in around, and after I get a couple of tacks in, try to hammer that gap shut a little bit better, move the pliers around, and we'll buzz that up, and we can put the other piece up over the back of that, bring the frame back together, and then we'll start getting into the cutting edge. That's looking pretty good. And it continues. So I fit the piece, that 2x3 across the back, and kind of cleaned up where all the welds go all the way around. You can see that, and that's kind of ready to go. It's ready to get buzzed in too. But I was trying to think of what, the next step ahead is going to be having to get some kind of, what was here before was just flat metal going all the way across, and then the cutting edge was attached to that flat piece of metal. And of course, you see how much trouble I had to go through to make that flat piece of metal. So what I'm thinking is, before I buzz this one in, what if I was to take another piece of angle and just kind of come off the front and down right here, weld that, box it in, it'll make this front lip real strong, and then attach the cutting edge to that. I'm probably going to weld the cutting edge to it too, as it's my machine, and it's easier for me, instead of drilling a bunch of slots and holes and everything, just to buzz that on there if I need to replace it. Obviously, see what I'm doing here. I just cut off with a cutting wheel and put another one on there. So that's the plan I think I'm moving forward with. So I'm going to stop on doing this because I want access to kind of get in behind it and weld it. So I think that would be my best bet. And also, the reason kind of why this rotted out before is there was no place for material to kind of come out of here. So I think by leaving, probably a 1-inch gap across it, and I could shoot paint and oil and stuff up inside there, will probably be maybe a better avenue to go than originally was done. Because when they built it, they're also looking to use as little material as possible to build it. And in my case, I do not care if it weighs 40 pounds heavier. It's picked up hydraulically anyway, so the weight of it actually may help. So what am I doing? I am going to remove that, and I think I have to slice off. It's not on a 45, so I'm going to have to slice off probably about a 1/2 inch or so of that before I can install it. But that's my next endeavor. I sliced it a little too thin, so it's on a slight angle. I won't tell anybody if you don't. So then I kind of stitch welded after I tacked it all in, squeezed it together, which is nice because that thing had a big bow in the center of it, and I was able to draw that right out of there and get a nice flat surface now. And I started going across the front, getting ready. Can you tell where I started to run out of gas? Finally. So I switched over to bottle. I had a spare bottle, but the baby one. So when that one runs out, I'll step up to getting the another one of those. A decent amount of time out of that, but that'll get us through for today. So I'm going to continue welding that up, and then we'll get the other back piece on and get that done. So about a minute after running out of the gas, I also ran out of wire. So I thought I had another 035 spool, the one that's down below there, and I went to go check it out, and it was flux core. Also, I thought I had a spare of the other. Anyway, so I had an 023, which is very thin wire. It's kind of meant more for, I like using it for doing body panels. So I put it on auto set with 023. You have 3 different choices you can kind of take, and then you pick the thickness of your wire, but I wasn't having good luck with it. So I popped it off of that, set the wire speed to where we had about 83 or so, and then left the voltage on 7. And I was able to dial it in fairly decent for the thicker metal, kind of maxing out with 1/8 inch and 3/16 material. But I was able to buzz that in. You could tell I was kind of tweaking it there yet, and in here was real bad. I was fighting it with the auto set. Finally, I failed. What else am I gonna do? I gotta make a patch yet for there. I want to beef this section up a little bit. And when I was torching it and beating it, the toilet ring wax is just smoking off the side of it. So it's definitely stayed on there. And as you can tell, I welded on the scraper. As I said, worry about bolting it, but that should be a pretty good profile. You got to remember that this is upside down, so when it goes to hit the ground, the machine's going to be still a little bit more on an angle yet. It's not going to be dead flat, and that should be okay. I could flex it and bend it a little bit, but again, my driveway's pretty much gravel, and I got the rollers on it, so I really don't want this kind of digging in pretty much at all. I wanted to kind of roll on the wheels, but still needs to be there. So that looks like it's much stronger than the piece of crap that was there. So I think probably what I'm going to do is I'll build a little patch for this, because this is where all the hitting happens. And then I'll throw some black paint on it and flip this thing around and get it up back on the machine. It's getting late. Before and after. Put the wheels on it. And that's the distance I kind of like to leave on it. Again, don't forget it's on an angle, but kind of leaves about an inch behind. I got runs. Slacker. I just really soak the paint inside there. Hopefully I remember in the spring to give this another shot of the oils, the toilet ring wax rather. You still see it all. As I said, in here it's still holding up really well. I just never did the underneath of it. I just kind of went and shot it and wanted to see how it would do. But it really should get the whole thing soaked. But I still have a driveway to get clear, and it's after 8 o'clock at night. So this sucker needs to go back on the machine and blow some snow. Shoot some black snow out of it. And we're all back together. Let's see how she does. Righto. See what it's like? Let's go for a ride. You're in. That's it. Looks fine. Again, guys, thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, and let me get my driveway done and get some pizza. So I figured I'd grab the camera one last shot. You're not done listening to me yabber. I figured I'd show the tractor itself too, huh? The snowblower held up really well. It's no issues. See, you pack a little bit of snow down in here, but that's okay. The pads seem like they're fine. I really can't say if it helped or hindered. It, you know, well, it hasn't hindered it. It doesn't have any vibrations or anything. So, you know, all is well, I guess, with that. I'm not quite sure. Probably would have been a good test to see how far it threw before and how far it throws now. The tractor itself is late 80s. I think this one's an 88. It's one of the last years they made it. 5013 Honda. Four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer. It's got hydraulics. It's got front PTO, mid PTO, and a rear PTO. The snowblower goes up and down hydraulically. It has a 3-point hitch on the back, which has a weight box attached to it, and now that's all I pretty much use it for. But that also goes up and down hydraulics. It's got a PTO up inside there, and then there's a trailer hitch also on the back of the bucket. And there's probably, I don't know, probably 400 pounds in here, so 400 or 500 pounds of just like scrap metal and old cylinders and whatnot. And the 4-wheel steer makes it so it turns on a dime. You can kind of see the rear articulation. The fenders turn with the tires. The engine's water cooled, liquid cooled. Gear driven, so it's got a high and low range. And what's that give you? 8 speeds total. You got 4 forwards, you got 2 reverses, and then you have high and low range in each one of those. Here's the PTO shifter. That's your throttle. This is to engage the front PTO, this yellow lever. Here's your hydraulic for lifting it up and down. And you pick which one you want. So like you want to lift the front, you got this lever, so it's left in front. So moving this just kind of moves the snowblower in the front, and the back is locked. So normally what you would do, then you would lift the front snowblower up, you would flip this lever over to the rear, and then this would work the back PTO. And they got 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive down there. And then you got a diff lock pedal right here. It's a really well built machine. It's an absolute tank. Kind of a cult following on those things too. I put the cab on it last year and 2 new front tires. I didn't say that already, but you know, I figure that's why I put so much effort into it, because it should really be the last machine I would ever have to buy if I take care of it. Everybody should keep it out of the weather when in the off seasons, but that's what happens when you're a hoard. At least it's got a cab on it, keeps the weather off of the inside. I'd flip the hood open for you, but can I get it? I believe it's got a lever. There you go. I believe it's a twin cylinder, so much crap I'm sitting. Actually, this one's air cooled. The smaller one, there's a smaller tractor. I had the same one, which is liquid cooled. This one's air cooled. Gas tanks right there. It's a fairly quiet tractor too. Yeah, guys. Well, that light's blinking, and I already said my goodbyes. So again, thanks. Later.